G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Thanks for watching Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we have a bit of an emergency shutdown of a tank that we have to do for a customer that needs the tank gone ASAP. Now we've agreed to do the job today, and unfortunately one of our staff has called in sick, so the job is left to me to do by myself. So I haven't seen this tank in quite a few months. Let's go inside and have a look and see what we've got in store. Okay, so the tank is an Aqua Reef 395. So it's a 400 litre tank roughly. We have a tank with the lights suspended from these arms. We also have a sump, which looks like there's a dosing pump that we'll have to look at and dismantle. We have a chiller around the side, a number of wave makers in the tank, and a medium number of fish and corals. Something else I need to mention about this job today, we have to do this job in 2 hours. So we've got one person, 2 hours, and we have to relocate this tank. It is going to be a difficult job. So I'm going to get straight into it. Okay, so I've brought most of the equipment in for the job, which includes some barrels, we've got a foam box, we've got a large hose and the trolley. One advantage that we have with this job is that we don't need to keep the water, and we're only going to take as much of the water that we need to keep the fish underwater and the corals happy and healthy. So the key with this job is going to be multitasking. I'm going to try and do a number of things at any given point in time. So I'll start by draining some water into the barrels. So I'm going to drain water into the barrels, start taking off the components. I'll start with this wave maker that's whinging at me. Alright, so this wave maker, I've got no idea where any of the cords go to. Alright, that was nice and easy. Okay, so I'm going to start turning off a lot of the other equipment. The sump is running a little bit dry, so it doesn't hurt. The only thing I'll keep on is the light actually. Turn everything else off. Well, first thing I turned off was the light. So we're getting through all of these electrical componentries, like the wave makers and such, but there's just so many cords and cables down here. I've pulled out half of them. These are the lights. I've still got to take everything out of the sump and deal with the main line up the top. Very conscious of the time, so I'm going to be checking the time. Alright, so we're 15 minutes in. I think I'm going to stop draining water. This will be all the water we'll keep. And this is all the gear we've got to work with too. Only 3 barrels, 1 foam box, 2 buckets. I have to say, we're not really prepared for this job, and we've only got 1 hour 45 minutes left. The plumbing is always something that scares me with a job like this, because you never know exactly how easy or hard it's going to be. So we've got to dismantle the drain and the return line, and I'm really struggling with the drain. There's a lot of salt creep and it's making my hands slide as I try and undo it, but I think I've almost got it. Yeah, okay. So this comes off, and then we deal with the bulkhead above it. But we're probably going to have a little bit of water come out at this stage. There we go. Hooray. So now the bulkheads. Oh, this one's going to come off easy. And this will bring the water, I reckon. Okay. Okay, that'll work. Oh, geez. So I was just about to say that this grommet got stuck in the hole as the water was trying to drain out of it, which made it spray a little bit. So there's another 5 minutes cleaning up a mess that we've made. But then I've had a closer look at this grommet, and it has a bristleworm attached to it. So without thinking about it, I just grabbed this, and I've got bristles on my fingers now. So I can either stop and pull them out and there's another 5 minutes gone, or I keep going and just deal with the pain. And I just don't have the 5 minutes to spare, so I'm just going to have to keep on going. Anyway, I'll chuck him back in the sump, deal with him later. Ugh. Alright, so this is the plumbing. I always make sure I've got all of the grommets. They're very important, but I'm missing one. I'll have to find it later because I just don't have the time to stop. So back to my multitasking. I need to drain as much of the water out of the sump as possible. It's an easy lift for one person if there's no water in it, but it takes ages to drain water out sometimes, and I'm just going to get it started now so I can at least have it drained as much as possible, but we'll see. So whilst this is draining, I'll start with the fish and corals. I'll raise this up. That's handy. Okay, lots of space. So obviously this clam is dead, but the clam shells themselves are actually quite useful. We use them at the shop to, we break them, we just use 1/2 and they make the perfect little goby hide. They go and live underneath the shell and they come out through the scoots. Looks really cool, so we'll keep this. I'm already wishing we had more buckets. So this is cool, a little BTA. We just heard a story that this guy had been through a wave maker a few months ago and now he's fully whole, nice colour. So make sure I put him underwater. So the water that we drain from the sump is going to go straight back into the top because I'm going to use a large hose to drain out this water. Saves me carrying buckets to a sink. We have an anemone on the glass. So I thought it was going to be on a rock, but it's stuck to the glass, or maybe the bottom of the tank. So I'll try and get a fingernail underneath its foot where it's attached to the glass, and I should be able to, without damaging it, pull it off the glass. Okay, there we go. All right, no damage to the foot. That's nice. That's what I want to see. Now, oh, the clowns don't want to get out of it. Huh. I could probably take them like that, but it's a bit risky. Where are they? All right. So normally with an anemone like this, I would flip it up like a pizza, but probably best just to chuck it straight into the barrel. So the clowns will go in there in a sec. So we're going to start draining the bulk of the water, and it's great not having to keep any of this water. These fish are all going to go into our quarantine system at the shop. So I'm going to start this draining, and then we'll catch out the fish. So we've just set up our battery operated air pumps in our fish barrels so that we've got lots of oxygen for the fish and we don't have to worry about them suffocating. So I'm going to start catching out the fish now. So hopefully I can get all of these in one go. Actually, I'll leave that rabbit fish out, yeah. So we have 4 tangs: blue tang, olivaceous, japonicus, scopaz. Now 3 clowns. Using 2 nets to herd them in. These guys are going in with the big anemone, of course. Two black and white and one normal straight into the anemone. So the very beautiful white spot rabbitfish from Western Australia. Such a lovely specimen. And a pajama cardinal. I think I'll put him in with the clowns. So I'm just checking the tank for any of the last remnants of life. So there's a couple of corallimorphs. There was a little green recordia. Because all of this sand is going to go into a bucket. 2 morphs. Oh, we've got some snails. Oh, they're empty. But it's very important to check that you get everything when you're at this stage. So whilst the water's draining, I'm going to start to take some of the stuff we've dismantled out to the ute. So we're 38 minutes into this job. So we've only got an hour and a quarter roughly left. So we need to get moving. That's pretty heavy. So luckily we've got a trolley. If we had 2 people, would be okay, 1 person on each handle. But by myself, this is the best way. Do 2. Whoa. So one other problem that we have to work around, we only have one vehicle. Normally, for a job like this, we'd have 2 utes and maybe even a trailer. But so I have to fit all of this stuff on the 1 ute. I've got about 6 foot by 4 foot of space, so it's going to be very tight. So we're very lucky that today is a mild day. It's about 22 degrees Celsius, so it's not too hot, it's not too cold. So I don't mind leaving the fish and the corals in their barrels on the back of the ute. So it's only going to be 20 or 30 minutes, but they're going to be totally fine. So you might recall from previous videos, wrasse will bury themselves under the sand, and if you forget about them like I've just done, you don't find them until you start to take the sand out. So luckily he's still well and truly wet and he swam happily, so he looks totally fine. So now we have to take the sand out. Usually I would have a small bucket in the tank to transfer the sand from the small bucket to the big bucket, but we've totally run out of buckets. So it's 12:45, we've got 1 hour 15, and we're coming up to the hardest part of the whole job, me taking this tank off the stand by myself. Oh, there's another wrasse. Chorus Gaymard. Alright, well he's happy enough. Because I'm in such a rush, I haven't done my normal thing of checking through the sand. I totally forgot about that wrasse. Those bristles from the bristle worm at the very start are really itching. But I need to get out all the sand because it's going to be hard to lift this tank by myself as it is. Any extra weight is just going to make it impossible. So time to lift this tank. So I do have one secret weapon. I've brought some glass grips. So I really don't know exactly how I'm going to do this. I'm going to try going this way onto the trolley. We'll see. Now getting it onto the ute might be difficult. I think I'll grab a towel to help me. Luckily, this is an all-terrain trolley. I didn't think I'd be wheeling it through the mud. All right. So I'm going to put the tank, as far forward on the trolley as possible, and then lift it up onto this towel. No other way of doing it. Oh God. So it's on the tray, which is great, but it's taken up most of the tray. We've still got the stand and the sump and the boxes and the buckets. We're going to do the sump the same way as the tank. I'll use a glass grip. And we'll slide it out. Oh boy, it's heavier than I would have liked. It's a seated row. Oh boy, it sucks with trolleys. All right, I just had a genius idea. Worrying about the amount of space that we've got on the back of the tray, I'm going to put this stand on its end. But to do that, we need to take the light unit off first. So we'll do that now. So this is an Illume Magic Glaze, and it's been doing the job great for this tank. So we really need to look after it. We'll give it a clean when we get back to the shop. But these arms need to come off. The best thing about this is that the stand is very light. How's that? A perfect fit. So I'm going to have to tip out as much of this water as possible. I'll do it over here. Hooray! We found that grommet. So I don't normally tip water out, like salt water out onto garden areas, but it's only a small amount and this is a one-off time. So this will make it easier to get it onto the back of the ute. So we've got the tank, the stand, 2 barrels, the sump in the back of the ute. Somehow we need to find space for the chiller, the light, another barrel, the foam box, the rock. Too many things to list. I don't know how I'm going to get it in here, but we're just past halfway. It's 1:15, we've got 45 minutes. So I've got 45 minutes to pack this safely to get it back to the shop. So I'm going to put the chiller inside the stand, but I'm going to have to put the chiller on the tray and then drop the stand over it. So I've got to take the stand out. I didn't crack the tank. So this is our last load that we have to take out to the ute, and we've taken pretty much everything that was here. We've got a heap of towels. This is going to be handy for us to use to safely pack everything on the ute, but this is it. Let's go finish up. So that's it, 1.5 hours. We've stripped this tank down completely. We've loaded up in the back of the ute. That gives me half an hour to get to the next job. So I'm pretty good, and I think we've done very well. Hopefully next time we'll have 2 people for this job, but it's been a success. So anyway, I've got to go. Thanks very much for watching, and happy reefing. so that's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well. We'll be putting out videos every week showing a new tank with new products. There's going to be lots in all the videos. I'm Cam the Fish Guy, and keep on reefing.